Hello, it's Nicholas from the Movement Refinery. Here's another series. Hello, it's Nicholas from the Movement Refinery. I'm here to help prepare you for your class with an in-studio or at-home warm-up, but also a series that you can use for your personal postural connections and body conditioning and improving your awareness of your own movement. We're going to start today in this little series. It's targeted around the shoulder, and we'll be looking at the prone shoulder care series we do frequently in the studio, some shrugs through the body, both in this plane and in a side hover, some knees off work, and some cat and swan as well, just thinking about warming up through that body. This can be done as we are, but we can also add resistance in the form of a hand weight, a TheraBand, a power band, etc. And I'll let you add those as you see fit based on what you have in your availability. We're going to start face down. So the prone shoulder care series, we're working on the strength at the back of the shoulder. The easiest position to start with is with your hand closest to you, so you're forming a little dart or the letter I. Keep your head down, and I want you to work the muscles around the back of the shoulder and the shoulder blade to open the shoulder first and then close the shoulder forward. So when I say that, I'm talking about the top of the shoulder rotating so that we form a flat line across the collarbone, and then maybe even going a little bit further so that the muscles across the middle back are involved in actioning the scapulae or shoulder blades and then coming down. What we're not trying to do is jam the arm back and strain the neck. I want you to feel the muscles work around the back of the shoulder to set you up. I do that 4 or 5 times. And then on the 5th one, what I'm going to ask you to do, again, keeping your head with comfort. So I'd have a cushion under here. I don't have a cushion, but I've got my glasses for a long neck. My shoulders are in a working position. They're not squeezing back. They're as broad as possible. I'm going to lift my arms. And I'm only lifting to the point that my shoulders haven't rounded forward. So I'm keeping that breadth across the collarbone. I'm keeping the muscle engagement in my armpits. And I'm going to keep my arms up for 5 breaths, slowly out and in. And when that's done, I'm going to relax. So that's the I position. And I would do 3 sets of 5 to 10 breaths. If you've never done this before, it's a great place to start. And when you're familiar with it, I would turn the hand over. I would still do a couple of sets of the I with the palm up, but I would progress to I, and then rotate the arm so the palm is facing down. Derotate and come back to rest. And I add that as my little finisher, but starting to wake up the rotators of the shoulder. Thinking of this, both arms at the same time, just showing one. Not that you're trying to come up into extension, but you have a sense of elongation through the spine. So we started with your shoulder awareness. You added the arm hold position in the I, and then we finished with the screwdriver action as well. If that's a challenge for you, stay with that. Then what you do when you're ready is take your arm into the W position. Same technique, shoulders are awake and not rolling forward. You've got as much breadth across your collarbone as possible. From here, exhale. Arms are lifting. And again, you can add resistance externally with a small hand weight or some cans of beans. Up to 5 breaths. I'm going to take the crinkle out of my body and find my right angles. And I'm going to bring them down. So this type of deep postural strength and awareness makes all the difference when you're trying the more advanced Pilates exercises, especially on classical equipment. This will help you master rowing and have the strength to work against the springs and not be pushed around by them. Let's do 3 sets of 5 breaths. If you add extension, what often happens is that we reduce the focus on the shoulder. That's why I'm asking you to keep your head down So we can focus on the lift of the arm and the work through the muscles under the armpit and chest. Okay, and as per the last one, I'm going to show you a variation on the third. So once you're in the position, what I'm going to do is think of holding a ledge with my hands, and I want to tap my elbow down and then pick it back up. So I'm externally rotating my upper arm, internally rotating it back to center. Tap. Now, if you're new to this, I'd do 3 or 4 at a time. When you're doing that, the W position or the little scarecrow twist, if you feel more muscle work around your neck and upper traps, that's fine, it's temporary, but you might prefer to focus, I would prefer you to focus more on what's engaging, so around here. And to do that, you might need to be less strict about the 90-degree W position, and you might bring your arms closer to your body. Then as you feel stronger, you can work on that sense of breadth and width. When they're feeling comfortable, we would look at you doing the T-pull from the classical mat and reformer, where your arms are up in this position, and you're going to pull the arm back and up. I would just start with 10 going up and down slowly, and then when you're comfortable, I would add a hold in that T-pull position. So the other exercise is a little bit more comfortable and straightforward. We're starting with the hold and then we're adding something, but because this one's a little trickier and on your endurance, I'm going to start with a lower and lift and then build to adding the isometric at the very end. Okay, on to all fours. 10 reps, shoulder drops. My hands are flat, but they can be on knuckles if you prefer. And you're going to drop the shoulder down and pick the shoulder up. What we're doing there is we're letting the shoulder blade twist and we're letting it spread. And we're trying to get maximum dexterity of the shoulder blade running over the back of the rib cage like a mallet on a xylophone. So as you're feeling that action happen, you want to hear little chord down, a little chord up, rather than chonk, chonk, chonk. Do your best to increase your mobility and awareness of that blade position. Bring the shoulders toward each other and then stretching them wide apart. If you need more feedback in your body to generate that, try that lying on your back with your hands up, gliding forward and back. I always recommend being really clear in your shoulder actions before you get onto the reformer especially, and before you add external load to your body. Okay, looking at the next exercise, that gliding action, but this time in a side hover or side plank. So start yourself up thinking of that perfect triangle underneath the body in the void, and what I would like you to do is slump down in the shoulder. So rather than thinking of dropping the ribs and waist and hitching the hip, I'd like you to think the shoulder drops and the triangle changes shape, and then I'm going to push down and lift. And yes, I changed analogy or metaphor halfway through, so just come with me. Just relax into your shoulder. Now the muscles under here, I want you to pull away from the floor to wake them up to create a stronger triangle. Then these kind of relax and I drop into it. I'd start with 10 reps each side, and then you're going to progress this when you're ready to doing it in some type of plank. So you could have your legs staggered together, bottom leg bent, but in this position with the hip up, we're getting that slump into the shoulder, and then we're pushing the arm away, waking up that lateral aspect of your torso. Inhale down, exhale up. Okay, what's next on the list? We've done our prone shoulder care, we've done some 4-point retractions and protractions, your side slump, 4-point retraction, protraction with your knees off. So you will see this doubled up in the wrist video, but these are here now because it's also part of the shoulder. So toes down, knees off, 10 glides, shoulders retract and protract. 4 to go. Okay. As you can tell, it's hard for me to do something and talk, but the point there is it's harder on your core, it's more work, however you want to express that. It's harder to think about what's going on at the shoulder when there's more load going through the body. We want to then progress that also, same exercise, wrists or hands, into protraction, retraction in the plank. Now, you want to do 3 by 10 of whichever version works for you. You might do some knees down, some knees off, some plank if you're there. Whatever you're doing, you want to feel the most romantic caress of the shoulder blade around the rib. Don't let the position undermine the underlying technique and intention. Let's just finish with a little bit of cat stretch. So coming up and coming out, and then extending both the thoracic, the upper back and the lower back. And find your lift, find your curl. And coming out of there. Now that can be done knees off, and it can also be done in the plank. I'd make sure you've done 10 where you're really feeling all those articulation points coming together to support you for your workout or down regulation ahead. This also can be done, of course, with your hands off to one side, or all the other cat variations we'll do, but we'll look at them in another video. Hope you feel thoroughly prepared. Generally work within technique rather than endurance and reps, and then when you're ready, keep pushing that endurance. Start small, build bigger.